Greetings, mortals, and welcome. Please present your tickets for validation. Thank you. Your existence has been acknowledged, and you have been granted access every Thursday and Friday. You will be accompanying your guides, Krista and Brandy, along with their world-renowned guest. They will be exploring an intriguing tendril of what humans refer to as reality each week, as they strive to advance you further down the path to the truths of your physical earth and what lies on the other side. Remember to please keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, and do not exit until the craft has come to a complete stop.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
Happy Friday. Guess what?
Friday.
So, of course, Krista's not here tonight. She has a charity event she's going to. Bless her. Better her than I'm tired. I'm like, I couldn't even make it out of the house tonight. I'm like, thank goodness I can sit here in my pajamas and be okay. So we're all good.
You wouldn't want me to do that.
Right. So anyway, if you don't know our co-host, which I'm sure you do, but the co-host and driver of the show, driver of this crazy train we're on tonight is Paranormal Paul. And of course, Tex from Texas Front Porch is joining us tonight. His little thumbs up thing. Monica Rollins kills me because she's just discovering this whole thing. You know, she's getting balloons coming up and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, that's fun.
I had the balloons happen to me last week, and I don't know how I did it.
I don't know. She knows that. She says it's something when you do like this. She says she talks with her hands. Yeah, she can do that one, but it's something when she's doing something with her hands like this, and then the balloons come up. No? See? This is what we do, ladies and gentlemen, when
I'm not doing a show, I just sit here and look at my screen and do this and try and
Yeah, that's what happens when you have Apple. Yeah, I don't. I am definitely a Samsung type of girl.
One thing I would like to try, and I probably shouldn't do this on camera, is seeing what would happen if I give it the finger. See what would happen.
It doesn't do anything.
Oh.
No, Monica tried. She was trying everything, and it didn't work. So, but gosh, look at everybody coming in. I'm so glad to see everybody. So glad to see everybody. Well, let's take care of business and get that out of the way. Okay, let's go ahead and put up our first event. Now, like we talked about last night, this event is in 2 weeks. This is our Blondes and Booze and Paranormal After Dark. It is going to be like an afternoon conference, having a few speakers. We're going to have dinner, and then we're going to ghost hunt all night. This is May 18th and to the wee early morning hours of the 19th, again in Ashmore, Illinois. You can find tickets under Eventbrite. Just look under Blondes and Booze, and it should be the first event to pop up for you. But it is going to be just super awesome. Of course, Paul, who is our crazy train driver tonight, he's going to come with us, and he's going to help us out and investigate, and this should be a really good time. Mm-hmm. Josh Hurd from Malvern Manor is going to be there. Jessica Potter, the psychic mermaid, or the mermaid psychic medium, whatever we want to say there. But, you know, she's just a beautiful person with a beautiful soul. And her friend Rachel Marie, same thing. She's beautiful and just a great investigator and also a psychic medium. We're having Robin Terry, who is the owner of Ashmore Estates. Who he knows everybody, the who's who in the paranormal community. And special guests, Letitia and Barton Nunnelly, who don't ghost hunt at all. We're dragging them along. So this is going to be a fantastic event.
They're going to be sitting outside with the cicadas.
Probably. The corn's not high enough yet, so they're not going to be sitting out there in the corn. So
yeah. All right.
If they're sitting outside, I bet you it's with a bunch of skeeters.
Oh, it's not bad. It's not bad over there in Illinois.
Really?
It's not as bad. No,
They're all
No,
over
and
here.
it's gonna be nice. They've got picnic tables out there and big old campfire, and I mean, it's just a nice place. It's just a nice place. So it's really cool. So again, at the top of chat, we have the link pinned. So if you'd like to get your tickets, just go to the pinned link at the top of chat.
And we will see you there, hopefully.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Now, this next one, we're going to let Tex talk about this next one.
Thanks for the warning. It is the Alabama Bigfoot Conference, and it's June 7th and 8th. We're having a eat and greet, however you want to look at it, or meet and eat.
Eat and greet, yeah.
Yeah. Friday night at Western Sizzling. Now, all that we only had so many seats that we could, reserve RSVP, but it doesn't matter because I said, and if you walk in and it's a family style buffet restaurant, good food, ain't gonna turn you away. Walk on in, come on in, and sit down. And then Saturday is the conference itself, and I am the MC, Master of Ceremonies, and we have Jason McLean, Greg Eagles, Martin the Grover Groves, and Bigfoot Michigan Bob, and the lovely Blondes and Booze, that would be Brandy and Krista. Then we have Daryl Denton and the notorious Barton Nunnelly. The tickets are $30 online, $35 at the door. Vendor spots are $75 a piece. And the vendor spots are open to the public, folks. They don't have to pay. People don't have to pay to go to the vendor spots just to see the speakers. So we're looking at a lot of traffic for you money hungry vendors out there. So, and we got plenty of seats in the auditorium. So we will not run out of seats for the speakers. I personally guarantee that. So y'all come on down and say howdy.
Howdy.
And we will be getting together afterwards and causing trouble. You can guarantee it.
Absolutely.
I might just go down there just for that.
Last
time
our group got together at a conference, and we invaded Jefferson, and we ended up at a karaoke bar, and the whole team did a rendition of what was it?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can imagine me singing Freddie Mercury, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I would pay to see that.
I think I would have too. Probably the best
cool
entertainment.
Everybody in the bar had their phones out, and we can't find the video anywhere. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's just blackmail. They're not going to give it to you.
Right.
Well, anyway, we don't know what happened to Todd Neese. He was supposed to be our guest tonight. I sent him the invite, so hopefully he'll hop on here in a little bit. I'm hoping.
Oh, we also have. We will be debuting.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah.
A TV show at the conference.
Yes.
And Danielle Diva will be there doing live readings in the vendor area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to be getting a sneak peek at Greg Ogles and Relic Films' new documentary that is releasing in December. He's going to give us all a sneak peek that day. So I'm excited about that.
Exactly.
He was dropping hints about it last night in the chat.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. It was a very exciting weekend that I spent with Greg and all them when we were filming. It was a very it was active, very active. So
Greg can drop all
this
the
is
hints
gonna
he
be
wants. As long
awesome.
as he don't drop his doors, we'll be doing good.
Well, there is that. There is that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess it's just us for right now until, Todd jumps in. I already told Rob, I said he was going to come on too. I said, just take the night off. There's going to be 4 of us. That's more than plenty. So, but anyway, I heard that you all did a show today.
We did. Me, Rob, and the lovely Krista. And we talked about something that I touched on in my presentation at the the conference in Falk was, and it was inspired by a question I got from the audience. It was how many of these big cat or wild dog attacks did I think that were actually cryptids? And we kind of went from there and ran with it. And Krista talked about the one that the Amazon driver, and we talked about a few others. So it was I thought it was a cool show. We had fun.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. I'm trying to get this started here. My, of course I do everything on my tablet because I can't be fancy like everyone else and have a computer because I don't have any internet. So it kind of slows down, stops, and restarts, and I guess that's what I get. Anyway, so I'm just trying to think here about all the things that we talked about. We went through a bunch of stuff last weekend, and since our topic was going to be Bigfoot tonight anyway. Did you learn anything new or hear something new or anything from that conference at all?
Not necessarily. Well, I take that back. I was going to say not necessarily listen to people speak, but what I thought, one of the things that I thought was exciting was, and a lot of people will beat Ken Gerhardt and Lyle Blackburn up because they paint them with the same brush of these people that go out and they never find anything. Okay?
Right.
But Lyle had his first sighting right before the conference.
Yes, he did.
Wow.
He was, when he was up there talking about that, he went through his whole spiel and everything. But when he got to that, I saw him light up. And that it is so, it's kind of like, and I've got to experience this several times now since I've started researching. Once was with Brandy. What people had their first sighting. They're very excited. They're very, it's like, oh my gosh, it is actually real type thing. And it was really neat to see him light up like that and explain it the way he
did. It's kind of like, he's been talking about this stuff for years. He's been researching it for years, talking about it without an experience or an encounter. But it just kind of like, I think it rejuvenated him.
I do too.
Now that he's had an encounter, now that he's seen it for himself, now, and this, my goodness.
And it was only fitting that it was only fitting that he would have it in Falk.
It should be, as it should.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing that I always love to hear Chester talk. Because normally Chester doesn't really focus on a lot on Bigfoot. The man's a wealth of knowledge about wildlife in general. And it gave me the chance. And anytime I get with him, I ask him about stuff that has been floating around,
But this was a different opportunity for me because I had 2 vocals and the handprints that I could show him, and listen to. So I got to get his take on that, because I think it's very important for us as researchers to vet our evidence as much as freaking possible. And I don't see, you don't have that opportunity to talk to somebody like that is that qualified,
Right.
And when you can get verification from somebody like that, it really makes you feel good. So I had the opportunity of that. I also had the opportunity to reconnect with Todd Neese. I haven't seen him in, I guess, a year or 2. And
Right.
he looks good. It was good to see him. It was funny because when he came in, who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody, and I had seen this guy, and I thought, man, that looks like Todd Neese. But I didn't even know he was gonna be there. And then this one, I was talking to, I know it was a woman, and she says, man, that looks like Todd Neese. I said, yeah, but it's too quiet to be Todd. And turns out it was Todd. But yeah, it was good to reconnect with him, and it was.
Well, he's really quiet tonight. I'll tell you that.
He is. He's being
He's
very,
super
very
quiet tonight. Yeah. I hope he didn't get the times confused.
Yeah, which we see that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
You go to so many of these conferences, and it's the same thing, blah 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 blah. Same thing, same speakers over and over and over. This one was a little different. It was pretty cool. So it was, and it's always, for me, I think the most fun that I have is after the conference and sometimes before the conference, when we all get to sit around and talk, and
right.
That's what I really enjoyed. And I really had fun at the dinner beforehand. We thought we was going to get blown away, man. We no sooner got out of my truck than it hit. And when we were coming from Texarkana to Falk to the dinner, we saw a wall cloud trying to develop. And we're like, oh, this could be fun. And this little old community center is a metal building, and we drove up, and I'm like, I might want to take my chances in my truck.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, yeah, because Jason was keeping in touch with me. Yeah. Yeah, Jason was keeping in touch with me. He was fun. He was wanted to make sure. Am I lagging?
Yeah. Well,
it seemed fine to me, though.
Okay.
But I don't know. It was enjoyable to go, because I got to stand outside and talk to some other researchers and kind of find out what they're running into and all this kind of stuff, and it was really neat. So I had fun, and the food was good too. Get this, the people that catered the dinner, the restaurant name is Rougarou.
Rougarou.
I thought that was very fitting.
That was nice. That was a nice touch. The coolest thing out of that whole conference, and it wasn't even about Bigfoot. It wasn't even Bigfoot. I had a gentleman come up to me, and he said, I don't know, I didn't know who to show this to, but I want to show you some video that I caught, in my home. I said, okay, so I'm watching it, and it looks like night vision. So we're talking about that a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking him what kind of night vision he was using and blah, blah, blah. And it's in his basement. Well, as I'm watching this little blip that he had, I watched a shadow walk over and then walk back out of the picture. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm not going to take that as a it's something definite because, it could have been even somebody walking past that could have cast
Right.
that shadow.
Mhm.
So I'm like, nah, okay. And I'm talking about this, and I said, "Are you sure nobody was down there in the basement and moving around?" And he said, "No." He goes, "But that's what I thought too." He says, "Until I caught this." So he showed me the next video clip, and the next video clip shows that the shadow is in the middle of the frame. The camera hasn't moved, of course, it's stationary. It just appeared in the middle, then went down to a little blob, and then went straight up into the ceiling.
And this was in the basement?
This was in his basement.
His basement.
And I said, "You got something there."
Wow.
And there was no questioning. I was like, "Yeah." Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things is people come up and show you the evidence that they've caught, and because we don't always get to see it like on the show because these people aren't coming on shows.
Right. And he didn't. He just says, "I had this." And I said, "Okay, I'll take a look at it." Like the first one I said, anybody could have been walking past and caused a shadow. So I wasn't too impressed until I saw that one just appear and then go
Right.
up the ceiling. I said, "Oh, okay." There it is. I'm
Wow.
convinced you don't have to tell me no more.
Yeah. Well, we supposedly where I work I work at a meat market, and supposedly in our basement we have a ghost or two. A couple. I've never seen it. There's security cameras down there, so I'm going to make sure if they ever get anything on the camera, get alerts or anything, I'm going to ask them for the footage.
Right.
But a couple people have either been, poked on the back or something, and then somebody was down there and they heard somebody whispering, "Get out." So.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and I keep going down there early in the morning or towards the end of my shift. And I'm like, "Anybody down there? No, nothing's going on." So,
Well, maybe you should take a recorder and put it down there and just leave it and then go pick it up later.
but the problem is when we're up, when we're open, you can hear carts going up and down or back and forth on the floor upstairs and stuff. So I don't know how good that would be.
Yeah, but you won't hear "Get out."
Well, that's true.
You'll hear that for sure.
Yeah.
And spirits have a little bit of a tendency to walk up on things and start talking to it too. I've had that where I've laid a recorder down and then had a spirit come and actually talk into it.
Wow.
Because I go down there, I'll be like, "Okay, here's this recorder. All you have to do is walk up to it, get real close, talk to it. I'm gonna lay it right here. I'll see y'all in a couple hours."
Interesting.
And it's happened. Yeah. So, you can try that. And the good thing about it is you already know the sounds that are going to be natural. You know the rolling of the carts, those sounds, but you'll know what's not. You'll know what's different.
What I think I might do is either ask him if I can leave a camcorder overnight downstairs. Granted, it'll all be black, so I don't know if there's a security light down there or not. But I could always leave that. I'm pointing at my camera here. I could always leave this like during the day sometime and just leave it down there. That would be interesting.
Yeah, just leave it down there. You're going to hear the sound, but if you have a good mic on it, you could pick up something too.
Yeah.
And you might catch movement or possibly a shadow person with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely would.
Yeah. How are you going to do that?
I don't know, Tex, what would you do?
I would try a couple of different techniques. The trail cam, the static cam, and why not throw a recorder down there?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you
That's
get a
what I
hold
was
of
thinking.
one, if you could get a hold of one, and you might have access to one being a meat market and everything, a temp recorder.
I know we have those that you point and shoot, like a little laser that shoots into a case or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have a temp recorder that would just open up.
Okay, so that's why I have, what is that? Oh, the trail blocked by Bigfoot. So that's why I have this thing, and it has a place to put your memory chip in, and then it'll record your temperature, the pressure, humidity, the vibration, the the EMFs, and it'll put it out on a graph for you when you plug it in. Gotcha. So that's why I have that, so I can record any differences in the in the surroundings.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to look at this, we can.
Yeah.
I watched this about an hour ago.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did. I couldn't leave it. I gotta look.
Can't hear it though.
No, it's because I've got it muted.
Oh, okay.
I'll unmute it.
Did you stop by there today, or was this yesterday?
Springs. This was yesterday. Driving down the road and you see this hanging from a tree.
I've seen that baby.
All right, folks. I stopped out here.
We don't touch it.
I was showing my nephew around. I decided to come up to the cemetery, and this is what I found. Now, I'm not saying what was done or anything like that, but we know what goes on around here. And this is the bottom of the trail going up to the cemetery, and there's a tree laying across it. So we're going to go over here and take a look. It's a good sized tree too. It's a double tree, you can see it's got two trunks.
Wow.
Well, it certainly appears that it may have been pushed over. I don't feel like getting poison ivy. Yeah.
Well, maybe down there.
I'm actually standing on the tree looking down now. I don't see obvious tracks. And the thing about it is, it's kind of tucked away back there where, well, it'd be pretty hard to pick out in this stuff anyway. If it was wind, I would have thought I would have seen a lot more other damage in the area.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you could see it just laying there, just as if it were pushed down.
And it's right across the trail. Well, since we're here, yeah. You want to see the cemetery? All right.
Must is like a 50-minute walk.
No, it's about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. Pretty
See, and this is what we're talking about, going up this hill.
Yep. I don't know. This is muddy. It's slick.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can see that.
Yeah, because that's at an angle, and you have to walk. It's even when it's not muddy, it's hard to navigate because
we're kind of sliding.
You're walking on the side already. Incline.
If it gets any steeper.
Well,
yeah, there's a high side to that.
Yeah, you gotta walk on one side going up there.
Or in the mud right there.
Yeah.
So if you hear us talk about the bluff charge, this is the area right here.
Yeah, it was right up around it, right there, that first corner as I look up the trail.
Right. And you can see
Is
there's
where that
nowhere to go.
happened.
You're like kind of stuck right there.
Right around that first corner up there.
Yep. Yeah, because you're not scrambling up that side. There's no way.
Oh, I know, right?
Right down there.
Yeah.
Like
Watch your step. Here's a slick spot that's going to give on you.
Oh, wow. Look at that mud. But yeah, it's kind of like when we were talking about having that ambush site. It's like there's only one way down. You can't scramble up the side. So you're either going down or up. That's all you're doing.
Right.
All right, we'll catch y'all later.
Pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not saying what did it. Well, I don't know. Okay, we did have some storms in the area. We know that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It was just weird, the tree placement and it being over like that. So
It's kind of convenient for it to be over the path.
Yeah, exactly.
And only one tree for a storm.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see anything else out there, any branches or anything out there.
Yeah.
Just one tree.
Yeah.
And
we looked, but I didn't want to bail off. Moon at Noon's footprints not there. We didn't want to bail off into the poison ivy because that's about all that was there.
Yeah.
That was full of it. And I really wasn't prepared to go into, the brush or anything like that. I still had good clothes on, that type of thing, because we were coming back from the funeral and we were going to go spread Richard's ashes at the Red River. And I said, well, why don't we run down here real quick? I'll show you where I go camping. I was talking to my nephew. He'd never been down there. And then I whipped in there, and then we saw that, and then we decided not to go up the cemetery. And then we saw the baby hanging in the tree, and I took him up to the campsite that we usually use, and had to use a little 4-wheel drive to get in and out. It's wet down there, and but it's funny. We was driving down the main road, and Randy, where the canopy closes in, and even in the daylight, it gets a little dark down there.
It's a little dark, creepy. Yeah.
He says, I feel like I'm driving into a horror film. And I said, what? You ain't gonna come down there and go camping? He goes, no, that's a hard pass. But
Freaky had something. I was wondering if the patch of leaves next to the hole might have been where a foot could have been when they pushed that tree.
Could have been.
Yeah. Well, it depends on when the tree went down. If it went down after the storms, that's possible. But if it went down before the storms, well, there's no telling. Because Brown Springs has a way of hiding things.
It do.
Easily.
It do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always interesting going out there, no matter what, it's. I'm telling you, folks, the place never disappoints. I was just driving out there for a few minutes, and you find something worth looking at, But I will tell you this: with all the standing water that's out there now, mosquitoes are going to be bad.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're bad here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm battling them in the house right now. You just open up the door and it's like, I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I knew they were going to be bad though. I knew it.
We have some in our back door screen door. We have some holes in there, and if it's nice, we'll leave open the door, put the screen out. But one, you have mosquitoes coming in, then you're going to have the cicadas coming in, and my wife is terrified of the cicadas, so we're going to have to keep that door shut. Yeah.
Oh, so here I am. Okay. So here's my mom. She tells me yesterday morning before I left for work, that her garage door is not opening. She said her car is sitting outside because her garage door won't open. So I'm like, okay, when I get home, I'll deal with it. I'm like, okay. So I went out in the garage and got the ladder and put it up. Now I've got a 3-bay garage. And so hers is the middle. I'm setting everything up in there. And I'm like, okay, I've got to go in and I've got to get her keys because I have to get her garage door opener out of her car. I'm going back in the house, in the garage, and this big old black snake, and I'm telling you, it's about 3 foot long or better, is right there by the door. And it just starts scooting across and I've got stuff, that's kind of packed up right there against that wall. It scooted off into nowhere land. I can't find it. So now when I go out in the garage, I'm like looking around, make sure I've got a long stick, something. I'm like, I don't like snakes. I don't like them. Snakes and spiders? No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
They can sneak up on me and I won't know it. I don't like them.
Yeah.
So I understand that a black snake is good because it'll eat, rodents and all kinds of stuff. And that's awesome, but it doesn't have to be in my garage.
I've never really seen my wife run except for when a snake was around. We had a couple snakes in our backyard. And one night my son and I went someplace. He was pretty young at the time. We went someplace and she was home by herself. And we get home, there's little cups on the floor. And my son was like, Mom, what's all this on the floor? My wife won't kill spiders, but she'll trap them for us to kill them. So that's what she did. She had like 5 cups on the floor with the spiders trapped in there that I had to go and kill.
No. Well, okay. So as long as we're telling snake stories, I got to tell the other one because this one is actually hilarious. I've told it before, but I'll tell it again. So I'm in my bedroom and my mom was coming in from outside. And next thing you know, she starts screaming for me, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, she's foul. She's done something. She's hurt herself. What's going on? I run out there in the kitchen and I'm looking at her like, what? And she's like, I'm stepping on a snake. This is in my kitchen.
Oh.
Okay. And she's like, I'm stepping on a snake. And she sure enough was. And she was stepping on it. Unfortunately, she didn't get it with with the ball of her foot. She got it in the arch part. So it had a little bit of wiggle room. Yeah. And she's like, I don't know how long I can keep this stuck here. Because she ran in there and stepped on it. This is my mom. She stepped on it. Now, this was about the end of last summer, okay? And she stepped on it. So I'm looking all around trying to figure out how I'm going to kill this thing, right? So I'm like, oh, my God, I don't want to take one of my knives out of the kitchen drawer, and I can't think of it. She's like, there's the shovel. There's the shovel outside the door. I'm like, okay. So I get up here. I get the shovel, and there she is stepping on it, boy, with all she's got. And here I am. I chopped the snake in half in the middle of my kitchen, and then just scooped it up in the shovel and took it out, and then cleaned the floors.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, where I live, of course, you have a price to pay when you live in the country. There's no getting by it. You're going to have the mice from the fields. You're going to have snakes. You could have other critters, who knows? It's just a price you pay to have quiet. And I think about that. Do I really want to move in the city and deal with people? No.
Yeah, I think
I'm better off out here. I can see you coming from a mile away. I'm good.
Yeah. We were in Florida one time, just my mom and dad and myself. And in Florida, they have all the pools are screened in. So we were in the pool one time, and my dad is not a fan of or he wasn't a fan of snakes. So somehow a snake got in the screened-in pool. I'd never seen. My dad could walk on water. Right? He could run on water. He jumped out of that pool and ran into the house so fast. I opened the screen door as the snake was going towards it, and I slammed it, cut the thing in half, and it both halves were kind of squirming around in the grass and stuff, and that was nuts. My dad he sounded like my mom the way he was screaming. It was crazy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Here, text. Warhorse said, no, it wasn't Warhorse. I am so sorry. I just lost it. Anyway, I lost it. But somebody said that you need to buy me a Texas-sized nightlight so I can see spiders and snakes coming.
There you go. Roger Blair.
There it is. Well, of course, brown recluse. I'm in Missouri. It's a prominent spider.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's one of those. You've got to deal with those. Not necessarily black widows. Rattlesnakes, I don't have to. Water moccasins, I do. But the spiders that scare me the most, because they're the creepiest looking, are those that I call them banana spiders. They're black and yellow, but they're called garden spiders, I think, and they're cute. Yes. So I normally will get them outside, and they'll just hang on the side of the house or do whatever. And I'm like, okay, whatever, just eat your bugs and stay there. But there was one time where I caught one and it was running across my bed.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It had gotten in the house. And like I said, it's a price you pay for living out here.
When I was younger, a lot younger, I had some cousins and stuff, friends visiting. And we were, how kids are. We was playing chase, right?
Right.
So I took off through my dad's okra patch, and I'm looking back and I'm running, and I turned around just in time to run into one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, because its web was between the rows, and it right here on my face. And I to have a heart attack.
In that spider web feeling, because I hate that too. Trust me, I've already talked about spiders. I don't like them. But the funniest thing in the paranormal sometimes is that when you're being touched or something is very close to you, or you walk through something, you feel like you've just got spider webs all over you, or like you feel like you got something crawling on you. It's it takes everything I have not to scream. I'm like rubbing my face to make sure it's not spiders first.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow.
Thank you,
Gary.
I kind of had that feeling when we were at the Kess and investigating down there.
In the basement.
Yeah, because I got touched. And of course I was, down there totally dark. And I don't know if I heard something, but I don't know what it was. But I ain't eating no tarantula.
I just saw that one.
Right. Well, I mean, investigating at the Crest, because it's never been investigated.
Right.
It was very unique. It was super unique because we're talking about this building was back when things were segregated, like super segregated. Like they had the soda fountain for white people, and then they had a place for black people. It was just the bathrooms for black people were upstairs, the white people were downstairs. So it was very segregated. But what made this place creepy is that right behind us was the courthouse, and it's been the site of the courthouse for a very long time. They have just rebuilt it. But when they used to hang people in town, it was right there, right behind the Crest.
It was actually a little brick building between the courthouse and the Crest, in the Crest's parking lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, the whole history of that place was very, cool to listen to. And they said that the break room for the ladies, because it used to be like a little department store. It was a department store in
like five and dime store.
Right. And the break room was upstairs. Now check this out. They had the area where the ladies would go and take their break and everything. And you can smell, no kidding, you can smell. I don't know if it's like hairspray or if it's some type of perfume, but man, is it strong up there. It's just very strong. You can smell and get big whiffs of it at points as you're walking in and walking out of that room. Yeah, it was a little crazy.
Well,
and I saw some.
We had equipment getting triggered. We had, your little cat play balls were getting triggered. Your big ones were getting turned on. And y'all were getting touched. Anita got pinched. I think you got your hair pulled or something.
I got pinched. Oh, I got pinched the next day. The very next day.
During the conference.
Yeah, during the conference. And I mean, I got pinched so hard underneath my arm and my fat that it bruised. I was like, you're kidding me. That hurt. And Anita actually bruised too. She got 2 pinches and got bruised twice.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was strange because you can hear, like, if it was quiet in there when we were sitting there listening, you could hear actually like people talking and dishes clanking, like they're cleaning something or doing something. They're definitely doing something. Maybe doing the dishes back there, cleaning up the cups or plates or whatever. And that's what it just sounded like. That it was a working operation, and they were still it was a residual type haunting going on. And they were still doing their thing day in and day out. It was pretty cool.
We had some poltergeist activity too.
We did. Just
I still ain't figured that one out.
Right. So
the cleaning whatever spray it was.
Yeah. So let me explain this. This is the crest that we're talking about, and this is in Anniston, Alabama. This is not the same place that we're going to be at, but it's in the same town. But I was actually live at the time, and I'm carrying my whole getup, and I've got my camera and everything, and we're recording. And I had come up the stairs, and we had left Tex downstairs. Okay, we left him downstairs, and we went up. We waited a while, and then we went back down, and I was still live. I went back down. Now, Tex hasn't come upstairs yet. Nobody's been down the stairs to the basement. And I'm going downstairs, and Randy and I noticed that there is a can of spray starch right in the middle of the stair going, in our direction.
Whoa.
Yeah, and nobody was going through there. We left Tex down there by himself on purpose. And this thing went from being at the bottom of the stairs on the bottom step to halfway up the stairwell in the middle of the step.
Oh.
Sitting upright.
Yeah, like somebody picked it up, moved it, and set it down. So, I mean, that was really something that was some, you can't explain that away. If he hasn't moved and we haven't went back down there.
No.
And everybody was sitting together out in the, upstairs. And we were out in the middle of the room. We were nowhere near that stairwell.
Mm-mm.
And then Greg Ogles, he got to see his very first shadow person there. I was excited for him. Because it was him and I down in the basement, and we're walking around, and I have a light on my camera. And when I turned a corner a little bit, there's a whole bunch of beautiful furniture. Oh my God. I just wish I had all that furniture. Anyway, but there's this furniture and there's some boxes back there, and he saw somebody actually peek around those boxes and then go back behind the boxes. So he was super excited about that. And I that's kind of like the Bigfoot thing. It's like when you see your first shadow person, it's like, yay. There you go. It's just, there's one more person that doesn't think I'm crazy,
Wow. Wow.
So I don't know.
Very active night, very active place.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was, it hasn't been hunted. You know what I mean? So you have to go into a place like that with a little bit of a different expectation. They don't know what a spirit box is. They don't know, the EVP. So when you're talking and you're like, okay, this is what it does, you actually show them what it's doing and how it works. So they'll have an understanding. Other places, like there's places I've been in where I just set that equipment down. They know exactly what to do.
You have them trained.
I don't have to. Yeah, I don't have to do anything. They already know. But it was exciting for the first time, to investigate that. And one of the owners was with us because he's like, I know it is. And he goes, I know it's haunted. So he went with us and he had a great time.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just a fantastic time. I'm seeing everybody out there chatting away.
Yeah, we actually played some period music and got on and danced a little bit, and and it seemed to kick things off. It really did.
Absolutely. Because I would love to be able to investigate that outside area if it were quiet, but of course you're across from the courthouse, and right down there was the police station. It was right down from us. So they had, of course, activity, people coming in and out and things like that. So it'd be kind of hard to get it, but I would love to, try.
There's there's a theater just a little ways up the road, walking distance, that is known for being haunted.
Right. Well, Nick asked,
that whole town, really.
Right. Well, this is the question that Nick asked. He said,
here it is.
There you go. Do y'all think shadow people can be connected to the Bigfoot?
Well, let me put it this way. And this comes from Jason McLean. You take a person and they tell you, I was camping and I saw an 8-foot dark figure with red glowing eyes, and everybody says, oh, you saw a Bigfoot. You take that same person, the same story, just switch the location to their bedroom, and everybody says, oh, you saw a demon. So
you really got to know what you're seeing. I mean, do I think they're connected? I don't know. There was something connecting everything.
Yeah.
There really is. And that's what I'm trying to find out. That's when I'm out there investigating, that's what I'm trying to find out, how all this stuff is connected. Do I believe in ghosts? Absolutely. I've seen them. I've taken pictures of them. I've heard them on EVPs. I've got a bunch of evidence. I know they exist. Bigfoot. I've had encounters. I know they exist. You can't tell me they don't because I've seen them.
Yeah.
But I've seen some interesting things happen in between. So it's Brown Springs. There is some paranormal activity out there. And I'm not sure if it's Bigfoot or if it is ghost. I don't know. Or if it's both. I don't know. Because it's creepy. You just don't know. I mean, of course, out there in Brown Springs with the occult activity, yeah, there could be a lot of things out there, and it's good to be protected out there. But man, I don't know. I don't know. But to tell you, if I've seen a Bigfoot with a shadow person, no. Have I seen orbs around Bigfoot? No. But I've not.
Well, not floating around Bigfoot, but
no.
We've seen one at the same place at the same time, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What we saw was an orb, but I don't know what else to call it.
I don't know. I wouldn't classify it as an orb, but that's the only thing we can call it because that's what it kind of looked like, doing its own thing out there. But it didn't have
that experience we had. Really has me questioning how many of these orb things that we're not seeing.
Well, an
Because
orb
they're
is
not
supposed to
real.
have a light source, its own particular light source.
But light is nothing but energy, and so is heat.
Right. Right. But are they classified as the same? See, here we go. We got a whole new conversation to go on. I mean, because what is the difference between an orb and what we saw?
I don't know.
I don't know. Because I've never seen anything like that with a heat source.
Right.
I've seen something look like that with a light source, but not a heat source.
Now here's a question though. When you seeing these orbs, did you try a thermal at the time?
Yes. Yes. We've had them where, I mean, you can see them because there's movement in the screen. But
If you
there,
can
I
see
mean,
them with a thermal,
to say there was a significant heat source, that's a no.
but yeah, because this one it was hot.
It was hot. It was like body temp hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's a question for you guys. Do you think Bigfoot is native to this land or something else?
I think they're native.
I think so.
They're more native than we are.
I think they're the original natives. Honestly.
I think they've been around for a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the First Nations people,
Well, JD Smith says Native Americans believe that they are the type of Bigfoot that it can be like a shadow person. Absolutely. You are absolutely right. And I'm wondering if a lot of that is like how they're disappearing. Are they shifting to like a shadow type person, not cloaking, but just shifting to a shadow, disappearing in a shadow. You hear it all the time. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think of that story. But it's like somebody who can hide in the shadows. And I wish I could remember that story off my head. It has been, I'm telling you, everybody, I'm so sorry. It's probably been 25 years since I've read that, but I remember it now. And it did have to do with Native Americans.
Well, and
I can't remember.
I'm not saying they didn't know what they were talking about, but I'm just wondering if they were dealing with more than one phenomenon like I think we are.
And you're right. I think Tex and I are pretty much on the same thinking. We're on the same wavelength here to believe that there's more than meets the eye. What we're seeing is not all that's happening.
Yeah.
And it may be because, we as humans cannot see this. There's, of course, there's a scientific study going on that in the forest, all the trees and plants are all connected. That they have a source where like they kind of feed each other. And like if one's getting dry, that they'll send water that way, or, they'll do things that way. They have all these scientific studies doing it that way. And I'm wondering if that's kind of like not the same thing that we're dealing with, that they're all kind of connected and they're all kind of feeding each other.
That's possible. They could be feeding off. I mean, if you're talking paranormal, I mean, it could very well be feeding off of, say, Bigfoot's living energy. I mean, we've always talked about, Nathan Burt. I love this. Sasquatch is native to the land, but demons can mimic Bigfoot just like they mimic humans and everything else. Very well said.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I always go back to everything that I've read when studying demonology is that a demon will appear to you as something nice and friendly, whatever you deem friendly, like usually children are number one.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah, something friendly is what they're going to appear to you as. But there are people out there that believe that Bigfoot is friendly. I'm not always on board with that.
Well, I don't think they're neither. I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're good. I just think they're
Right.
making a living per se.
Right, exactly. Because you're going to run across humans that are grumpy. I mean, I run across them every day.
Yeah.
But and then you're going to run across some that are just nice all the time, and you're going to get the same thing. I think we were talking about this last night when we were talking about dogs, and I brought this up. I mean, you got to think about this. You could meet a dog that is just nice, wag its tail, da 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 da, think everything's great with everyone, and then you meet a dog that hates everyone, including himself. I'm guessing you're going to find that with anything, any animal.
Mm-hmm.
So, including us. So,
Randy says, I am not grumpy. Randy, you're always grumpy.
Randy's grumpy. Now, there's one person that we talk about. He's just grumpy. That's Mr. Grumpy.
I'll just leave that up there for a while.
Right. It's Mr. Grumpy. But to me, I mean, I have so many questions, and every time I go to these conferences and I hear these speakers talk, and it gives me more questions. I don't have any answers. It is just kind of like I'm waiting for the day, I get a definite answer about something. I don't care what it is. Just give me a definite answer. Because, like I said, we go to these conferences and we listen. Yeah.
I don't think they give us straight answers because they don't know the straight answers.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, because we listen to podcasts and we listen to speakers speak and we read books on this and there are so many more questions that I don't believe that anybody in this field have it right. I don't think anybody is 100% on. Now they may have maybe bits and pieces, but I don't think anybody is 100%.
Well, when it comes down to it, we all have circumstantial evidence and blurry pictures and
glob squatches.
Opinions. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's all opinions. It's all opinions and theories. Because you may have a little bit of evidence, but you don't have the whole story.
You got people that are out there that say these things are monsters. And if they were monsters and they were so dangerous, why are you going
would
after
be dead.
And number two, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because God knows I've had enough of me.
Yeah. There is no doubt in my mind that if all Bigfoot were monsters, I would be dead right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it knew exactly where I was at. When I was, when I was in my sleeping bag, when I heard something walking around, I knew that something was walking around my car and it probably saw me in there. But I didn't see it because I had my head covered. I was cold and I was breathing into my sleeping bag.
Yeah, I am very leery of the people that tell you that they know and that they have the answers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not, no.
They know they may have their opinion on from what they've experienced and what they've seen, but that's all it is. They don't have any repeatable evidence to show you.
Right.
So it's all opinion, no matter what these people want to say, and what gets me is you've got people out there going, when we present stuff like handprints, hard freaking evidence. Boom, there it is. They're not human.
Yep.
Okay, flat out. But you've got people out there talking about how they'll go out in the field and they'll bring you back hard evidence, not just goofy handprints. I'm going to bring you pictures. And when they do bring you pictures, they got to run it through 9,000 filters. You got to turn your head sideways, squint one eye and close the other.
And lift your right leg. Don't forget that one.
Lift your right leg, flap your arms like a chicken, and then they draw a red circle around it and they say, "Oh, see what I'm talking about?"
Right.
Come on, people.
Right.
Wake the hell up.
They
don't know what
exactly.
No.
I can only sit and speculate on what that Bigfoot was doing when I saw it.
Right.
It had to have seen me. I seen it sitting there swaying. It could have been a number of things it was thinking at that time. It's like, hey, is there anybody out there? I want that free meal. Because after the storm and it blew that trash everywhere, it's kind of like, hey, there's food out there. Is anybody watching? I'm looking around, trying to decide if it's good to go out there and get it.
Was that the one that you were in the car?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Or it could be like, well, I'm just going to sit here and in a state of confusion because I see this woman looking at me and I see her, she sees me, and we're just going to have a standoff until somebody moves. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't know. You just don't know what it was doing. Was it more curious about what we were doing out there and more curious about the people, or was it going after the food? My thing is that was a free meal ticket. But that's human thinking. It's like, if I didn't have to hunt or track it down or kill it or, and it's just right there, I'm going to go get that. I'm lazy.
Yeah. Right.
And that's what I would assume it was doing, but maybe not. Maybe it was just curious to see what we were doing.
Common sense. They're going to expend the least amount of calories possible to get food or whatever.
To get a free meal. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you don't think they're scavengers, folks, you're because, I mean, and I did learn something else about that encounter when we had the fingerprint show up on the truck. I found something out. I got to spend some time talking to Ranger X, and how I've always told y'all that the Bearproof Yeti cooler was latched and closed, right? And when we came back down, it was closed, but it wasn't latched, and something had gotten water out of it. Well, I was not telling all the story. And I wasn't aware. But his tailgate was closed too. And when we came back down, it was open. Not only that, they ran up there so quick to get me, they left everything in the truck, counting the key fob, all the electronics, all the cameras, everything. And the truck was unlocked. If this had been humans messing around there, they'd have
that stuff would have been gone.
They'd have damn sure got more than a scoop of water and ice out of the freaking cooler.
Well,
did they see any fingerprints or paw prints or whatever on the truck?
Yeah. We identified three separate sets of prints on both
Say
trucks.
That 5 times fast.
I know, right?
Like I said, I have, every time I go to a conference, I get more and more confused, and it's like, even with the powers that be, and like I said before, releasing the information or what they call information on UAPs, UFOs, whatever you want to call it, I'm still more confused as ever about that. The only thing I got out of that whole thing was the government says, yes, they're real.
Exactly.
That's all I got. I have no more information, and I already knew that was real and true before they even said it. And I'm like, there has got to be more. It's like, okay, explain. please. So, who knows? We may not see any more on that, in our lifetimes.
Well, and the thing about the whole UFO thing and them coming out, and I've talked about this before. When they came off of that and they said, okay, they're actually there. I expected everything on YouTube, especially in the circles that we talk in, to absolutely blow up.
Right.
And there was hardly anything. Why? Because, like you said, Brandy, we knew. We
already knew. We knew.
But I would say this: Nick is right. When me and him were camping out there, it sure as hell wasn't people that night we heard walking around. That is true.
Right. William says UAP, UFO are real, but what are they? Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
What are they? I mean, because we all have opinions, but nobody knows the answers. Somebody does have those answers, evidently, according to our, those people.
Well,
according to those people, they know, but are we getting those answers? No. So,
well, and I fully believe that.
They'll say one way or the other, but then they're going to come right back, a week or so or a month later and say, no, that wasn't right.
Yes.
We don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't know where
yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I just kicked my camera. Anyway, absolutely. They'll do that. And you'll sit here and you're like, but you just told us last week and now you're going to change the story again. And that's what they're doing. The only thing that they're not going back on is that they're real. That's it. Mm-hmm. They're not, they haven't talked about Area 51. They haven't talked about the crash in Cape Girardeau, which happened 7 years prior to Area 51. They're not talking about any of that.
And really, if they're reverse engineering these crafts for their own military use, really, why would they say that they're doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, they say that, and then all of a sudden China or Russia is doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, see, because I was wondering where the technology came from the like the stealth fighter, and all of this other kind of stuff. I'm wondering where all of this technology is coming from, and I don't know. Has anybody ever heard of anyone else having a plane in another country that is similar to that?
No. We might not be able to detect it, though, if they do.
Well, I'm sure that we would have heard about it because, nobody ever keeps a secret forever. Right. There are some loose lips. We all know sink ships. Right. We got it. But I've never heard of another country having something that has that technology. That's why I'm so confused at this. And I'm like, where are these coming from? Mm-hmm. But why are the companies like Samsung and Apple and all these coming out with these word processors that can fit in the palm of your hand?
Exactly.
When you're talking about 30 years ago, we had a big brick.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
even then, the big brick, all of a sudden, I mean, it didn't come out of nowhere, but all of a sudden the technology just boomed. Where were they getting this technology? I mean, was it someone just had a breakthrough moment?
Right.
Or was it something from a spacecraft that was reverse engineered?
Exactly. Because, you got to remember that everything that we had was huge. And then everything went to micro. Mm-hmm. Everything was super small, including our phones. Like you had to open your phone like this, like, hello, hello. And then all of a sudden now we're getting like TV screens for our cell phones. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And, you're talking about these pictures that these telephones or these cell phones. I keep dating myself. These cell phones are taking are as good as any digital camera out there mm-hmm. that you pay thousands and thousands of dollars for with your zoom lens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the leaps in technology over the past 100 years
has been astounding.
Yep.
Yeah. And it has blown away any other 100-year section in history.
Right.
by just leaps and bounds. I mean, it's just. But there's stuff that's been done, in the ancient past that we cannot recreate to this day. So we haven't figured it all out yet. No. Because they have theories on how the pyramids and stuff were built, how the stone was cut primarily, how that everything was lined up. How did these people know that the astrology stuff that they knew before telescopes were ever invented?
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't make sense. They had to get the information somewhere.
It's true. I mean, you're right. We just start talking about the pyramids and how they were built and all that. That is just some crazy nonsense there.
Maggie, I totally agree. It's terrible that they made people look crazy when it really existed. We're going to be saying that exact same statement.
Yeah.
I feel in my lifetime about Bigfoot.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Thanks for making me look stupid when I wasn't. Thanks.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
That is a very good point. Very good point.
Well, and the thing about it is, and I've made this comparison before, look at how the history if you go from Roswell up to today, when they finally come off of it and said UFOs are real. I'm not saying they're from another planet, but UFOs do exist.
Mm-hmm.
How many years is that? 47 to 24. I mean, it's a long time.
Right.
But if you look at the progression of the outlook, of the stigma on UFOs, from little green men to everybody's crazy and or they're lying and they didn't see this stuff or they're hoaxing it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
To guess what? Yeah, okay, they do exist. We're seeing the same thing with Bigfoot.
Yes.
We're seeing the films made. We're seeing, and I think it's what I've always called it slow disclosure, because they want they want that reaction that they got when they disclosed the UFOs. Oh, okay, well, we knew. Because if they didn't get that reaction, you have massive panic on your hands.
Absolutely.
And I think by the time, because we've been talking here lately about the stigma with Bigfoot sightings and stuff isn't quite as bad as it used to be.
Right.
And
right.
It's more accepted. Well, maybe, and we were talking earlier about the, them making mistakes. Little bitty mistakes about unknown canine, this type of thing. Maybe they're not mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not mistakes. That's the baby steps we're seeing. I don't think they'll ever come off a Dogman. I really don't. But because once they come off of Bigfoot, they can say all of it was Bigfoot.
They can just throw everything into that category. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the Fae. They're throwing everything into the Fae category. Yeah. It's like everything's in there. I'm. You can call it Fae, but we're going to have to split that one up because that is a huge, huge subject.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things in there. That's huge.
And I really do think that everything that we're calling Bigfoot, Dogman, Goatman, little people, the list goes on. Mm-hmm. That's all what people 100 years ago were calling the Fae. We just got different names for them. They call them trolls and ogres and, all that kind of stuff. And sirens. And I mean, the list goes on. But I mean, even the rake, we have, we start calling this thing the rake just several years ago. Hell, before then it was called a ghoul. It was known to raid graveyards. So these are all things. This is nothing new, folks. These things have been around
Right.
for thousands of years.
Right.
We're just
Right.
putting different, nomenclature on it. That's all we're doing.
Yeah. That was kind of like when I figured out the real meaning behind a banshee
Uh-huh.
and all of that, because I mean, it's like you're thinking that this ghost of a woman is running through and screaming at people and,
Right.
all of this other kind. But did you know that it's an Irish folklore, that it is a member of your own family, a female member of your own family that is warning you that, and it's mostly held in the prominent families. Still in Ireland, that these banshees still exist, that their families, when they pass away, they become banshees and they just scream at you when bad things are happening. I mean, I'm like, I don't want family members like that. I don't. I just want calm and cool. But they say that it still happens with the prominent family members or families from Ireland. It's very crazy, is it? I was like, I don't want family members like that. Thanks. I'll pass.
Maggie, that's a good point.
I just read
Maggie
that.
has a very good point. No one will be looking up to see UFOs when we're all looking at our phones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, always.
So very true these days.
It is amazing
Yeah.
how many, because when I go out to Brown Springs or when I go to these conferences or anything, really, how oblivious people are to their surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't believe me, drive down the road.
I noticed that today. I went, I don't know how far we drove today, at least 20 miles for work to deliver stuff. I saw so many people driving. They're doing one of these with their phone.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
There's nothing that important, folks. There's really not.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I know back in
That
the 80s and 90s, if you wanted to call somebody, you pulled over to a payphone,
Mm-hmm.
or you waited
Yeah,
until you got to your destination or whatever. I didn't make much of a difference then. It's not going to make much of a difference now.
Right.
Especially somebody's texting you. Who cares?
Yeah.
Check
Right.
it when you pull over to get gas or go to the bathroom or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Put your dadgum phone down.
I'm going to tell you why I love my phone so much. I can't go anywhere without it, and this is why. Because number one, I'm an audiobook fan, especially when I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
I love listening to books and that way. Because I don't know what it is. I guess it's because, I do have bad eyesight that, I have to wear glasses, and then, you wear them glasses so long, and then, your nose starts to hurt, and you're like, oh, I got to put this down, and I get a headache. But I can listen to the story and be perfectly happy. And then I can catch up on my podcast by turning on YouTube, and I'll just let that roll, and I don't even have to look at it. I'm just listening to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, I love that. Of course, I've pretty much, I might as well just throw my TV away,
Yeah.
I don't even watch it anymore. And now the radio has become useless to me, pretty much.
Ever since like the satellite radio, Sirius XM or something like that has come along, I have not listened to a regular radio station in a long time. I just can't. And it's even on my phone. So if I'm out someplace, I'll plug this in and listen to that, and you have your whole life on your phone. I mean, how many pictures do you have on your phone? Everything you need for your entire life is in this little bitty contraption. So
Yeah.
cute little dogs. So
That's a cute little dog. Stay there. I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's just we have this wonderful technology now, and I do appreciate what they're doing with it. I mean, but at what expense? We're losing TV and we're losing radio. And I used to love listening to baseball on the radio. I don't know whoever else is like that, but I always used to love listening. Yeah. And I still do when I can. I'll listen to baseball on the radio versus watching it on TV any day.
I would rather listen to it be called than watch it.
Yeah.
I really would.
And I grew up listening to Jack Buck and Mike Shannon call Cardinal games, and there's no better radio voice than Jack Buck was when he calls it.
Right.
I mean, you knew he was with you and everything. It was just beautiful. And now I don't really care for the radio announcers, but I would rather listen to them too.
Yeah, exactly.
They paint such a good picture.
Yeah, they're a storyteller. It's a storyteller. You're just telling the story as it's happening. That's all you're doing with it, and you have to have that ability. And I love that. Again, so that's I'll catch a ball game if I'm driving. I will do it every time.
I was talking. This is kind of related, but not really. I was talking to a young guy that I worked with. He's in his 20s, and I was like, man, I just don't get how y'all sit down and watch somebody else play a video game. Okay. And he says, well, how do you sit down and watch somebody else play a game? He said, do you watch NFL football? I said, shut up.
Shut up. I do that with my kids, especially when they were younger. They'll play them video games and I'll watch them, and then I'll be like the passenger driver over here. You went the wrong way, go the other way. Look out, watch out behind you. So they're like, no, she doesn't get to play or watch with us anymore. So I got out of that easily. Just be annoying. Then you don't have to do it anymore. So, and my youngest daughter, she's not real big into video games. My older two are, but my youngest one, she's like, no, no, she's more into music and stuff like
daughter, that. I love her to death. I got to meet her at the conference in Falk, and she is an absolute joy. She really is. She has got a wit that I absolutely love.
Yeah, it's almost.
I'm pretty sure that when I first met her, she was like, "Who is this creepy old man hugging me?"
But she already knew who you were. She already knew. She's just kind of like, he's hugging. He's hugging me. He's hugging me. She's just like that, but she has this really dry sense of humor. Yeah, she, but all my kids have this real dry sense of humor.
So cool.
It's like she'll say something really off the wall and cut her eyes at you just to see if you're going to catch it. She's like,
yeah.
And she'll wait. She'll wait to see who catches it. She doesn't do it with me because she knows I catch it every time. But she'll say something, then she'll be like,
it's funny. It's funny because she's so quiet, and when she says something, it's a zinger. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah, it rocks you for sure.
She's what, 13?
It's like 13. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Going on 30. That's absolute true. Because like I said, she has got, like, I don't know, her little personality is, it's unlike kids I'm seeing her age these days.
Yeah.
She's got, it's a high intelligence kind of like dry wit, and you've got to be very careful. Very careful, because you could walk into something.
Oh, yeah. Now, Monica's boy, Lucas,
That's my buddy.
Man, you will not find a more curious kid. He wants to know about everything. Thank you, Maggie.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Maggie.
Now I'm gonna tell you, this kid, Monica's son, Lucas, he went right through Brown Springs with me every step of the way. What's this? What's that? How did this happen? Why is this like this? And I mean, he was drilling me the whole entire way. He's very inquisitive, very smart. Yep. He's going to be a good investigator.
He is.
He definitely
He
is. He's going to be good. And, again, I keep saying this is we've got to raise, our children, our grandchildren. We really have to get them into this field because we're a dying breed. We really are. We really are. So we need to get these kids getting involved and continue the search. They got to continue.
Are you bringing your girls to Ashmore?
No. They normally, even though my Abby has been to Ashmore, I take her to the teen hunts so she can be around other young adults like herself.
Great.
But I never bring her on adult hunts because I don't know how other people are going to act.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure of what's happening. I make sure it's appropriate. A lot of the ghost hunts she can't even go on because she's not old enough yet.
Yeah.
But, Krista, the same thing with her daughters. Her oldest one, she'll take her anyway. We've even taken them out to the LBL looking for Bigfoot. They're all excited about it. They want to go. So, it's just, we've got to get them in there.
Yeah. When I told my son I was going to Ashmore, he was upset that he wasn't going, I think. So
oh, no.
He wants to go. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, there is a teen hunt at Ashmore. It's in September. See if they have any tickets available.
Really?
Yeah, there's a teen hunt. I've already got the tickets for Abby and myself. Yeah, I would check into it tonight and see if they still have any available. And if you don't see it for Ashmore, I can probably get in touch with Rob and Terry and see if I can snag some tickets.
So I had to make a note.
Yeah, because they do teen hunts and then they do I think it's 11 and up. It might be 12 and up. I'm not quite sure of the ages, but during the day they have them for even younger children.
Yeah. Well, he's
and it's really cool because let me tell you, when you get all these kids in there running about 7, 8, 9 years old, and they were in there with all that excitement and all that energy, guess what happens at night?
They're asleep.
That activity blows up.
No.
They put so much energy into that building. It's just kind of well, okay, there we go. Yeah, because Abby and I had great success last year. So,
easy, Puck Elf. Easy.
What did he say?
No.
Something very off color. But I don't like banning people. Just be decent. That's all. That's it. That's all you got to do.
See, I'm a little bit different. I don't put up with it. I'm just one of those people though that I don't need to deal with it. I just kick them off, let everybody else enjoy the day. So, be careful.
Anyway, well, we're at over an hour and a half. You want to keep going?
Yeah, we do need to get off here. We do need to get off here only because I don't know. I haven't heard if Paranormal Roundtable is coming on tonight. I know he was under the weather. Josh was under the weather last night. And I hope he's feeling better today because he normally comes on in about a half hour or so. So, and also I have to get up for work at 2:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get off of here. And I'm glad that everybody came and participated. And it was great to chat with you. And I just, I really don't know what to say. I'm very emotional with everybody in here. I'm seeing all my friends in here. And don't forget, though, Ashmore Estates is in 2 weeks. Of course, Alabama Bigfoot Conference is in a month. So make sure you check those out. Ashmore is pinned at the top of chat. And Bigfoot Michigan Rob is probably 40 something people away from 4,000 or something like that crazy.
Him, yeah.
So if you've not subscribed to him, make sure you get over there and subscribe, like, and hit that notification button. And if you're listening to us, please just do the same for us too. Texas Front Porch, Paranormal Paul. Well, we call him Paranormal Paul, but it's Paranormal Among Us and Blondes and Booze. So get us all. So we'll see everybody next week, next Thursday. And have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.
Have a good night, guys.